This video features the brave actions of retired South African pilot Lieutenant Colonel Andries Marais during Operation Reindeer on the 4th of May 1978. Reindeer was a surprise airborne attack on a military base deep inside Angola by the South African Defence Force during the South African Border War, which took place between 1966 and 1990. Canberra medium bombers and Buccaneer low-level strike aircraft were used to soften the target, followed by an airborne attack by the South African paratroopers. After first being court-martialed, he was eventually awarded the Honoris Crux decoration. This is his story in his own words.
Can you now give us your account of how you experienced the attack on Kasinga?
Oh my goodness. Planning and planning and planning and postponement and planning and new information and planning and postponement and wondering whether whoever make the decision to go ahead with the attack will in fact make the decision. And then one day it came, about 4 days before. But the aircraft were already loaded. I remember leaving my house very early with the thought, this is going to be my first flight into a war zone. I had been in the northern Novemberland area at the time as commander of the mobile operations teams there. I knew exactly what was going on. I knew about all the areas. I knew exactly what the target was about. I knew exactly what all the other targets and threats were about in the area. So southern Angola and northern Novemberland was nothing new to me, and a number of us at the squadron indeed. The flight from here, from Waterkloof, all the way to a little place somewhere in the Angolan bush, it shows you again the capability of that aircraft, the Buccaneer. And to be there within less than a minute of a time that had been arranged months before, possibly moderated somewhat, but exactly 5 minutes past 8 o'clock, if I remember correctly. The target was exactly the way we had studied the photographs. Everything was exactly there. It was almost too easy. We saw the Canberras just completing their run. The timing was such that just as the Canberras had pulled off with the Alpha bombs, we would, each one of us, attack, put our 1,000-pounder bombs on designated parts of the target. Something strange happened there, because in the photographs later, I saw that the target that I had to attack, I missed about 500 meters, which was very strange to me. Only much later on, we realized that the scale of the photographs that were given us by JARIC, the Joint Air Reconnaissance Information Center, the scale of the photographs were wrong. So one aimed at a distance, because much of the target, the individual targets, were not visible from the air. You know exactly, according to the vegetation, where it was situated. So because of that, I missed that particular target, and for that very same reason, paratroopers also missed one of their dropping zones because of that. I wasn't able to take out that particular headquarters, which was my target for the time. We went back to Grootfontein, landed, reloaded. I was loaded with 72 68mm rockets. I had to fly back immediately to Kasinga for close support for the ground battle, which had then started. When I arrived there, there was quite a lot of anti-aircraft going around, and a number of targets that were indicated to me by the forward air controller we took out. And then when the ammunition was finished, I returned to Grootfontein. Another aircraft came to take over from me, I think Dick Warnke, and I think he experienced the same. Then later, I was scheduled to fly to another target with only anti-personnel 68mm rockets, a soft target where we had no need for bombs or armor piercing. I remember for some very strange reason that as we approached the aircraft, I told the armorer to remove every third rocket in the sequence, anti-personnel rocket, and put an armor-piercing rocket in there. There was this typical disagreement because the ammunition that you carry has been planned carefully before the time to make sure in weapons effort that which you expend should have the best result on the ground. And this was totally out of line to change that. And I had no reason for having done that. And he at first refused to do that, which is exactly correct. And I used a bit of rank, and I just instructed him to do that. Even my navigator, Ernie Harvey, was perplexed. He asked me a number of times, what is this about? And I couldn't answer him. So I knew...
Sorry, so there was just a sixth sense that you had. What made you decide that?
I don't know. I've never thought of a sixth sense. For some reason, I heard myself saying that take every third rocket out and put an armor-piercing rocket in there. No logic to it. I couldn't even explain it to myself, and I did not want to, ponder why am I doing this, because there was no task at hand.
You were not aware of what was going on the ground at Kasinga?
Oh, no.
You made that decision?
At that time, certainly, I was not aware of it. We were going to another target, totally inconsistent with what we were going to attack. On the way then, I heard on the radio the Buccaneer returning from Kasinga without any weapons left, that there was this armored column coming in, and that we need to do something about it. And there was a lot of talk. He was talking to the operational headquarters at Ondangwa. And I realized that at the time, that if there is not an immediate anti-aggressive response, that would cause problems. I asked the navigator whether he still had the maps for Kasinga, and he said no, he hadn't. And we had the only aircraft with a navigation computer at the squadron at that time. He said, but he still had the coordinates for Kasinga. And I said to him, put that in. So I put it in, and I had track and time to go to Kasinga, and I deviated, open throttles and accelerated. And again, he was completely, almost beyond himself with questioning me. Why did he do that? And I said, I can't discuss it with you now, there's a problem at Kasinga. So we went, and I was trying to say to the operational headquarters at Ondangwa that I'm going to do that, or ask permission to do that. But there was so much talk on the radio that I could not. In the meantime, we were now moving almost 300 meters per second in that direction. And then I heard them scramble to Mirage 3s.